Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of the OTC Markets, we are very pleased you have joined us for our 23rd Quarterly Life Science Investor Forum. Our next presentation of the day is from Kelyniam Global, which please note, you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for a one-on-one meeting by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Terence Kurtenbach, Chief Financial Officer of Kelyniam Global, which trades on the OTCID market under the symbol KLYG. Welcome, Terence.
Thanks very much, Greg, and hello, investors, and good morning. We've got a lot of information today, and so I'm going to break this into roughly two sections. The first is a presentation around the company itself, and the second 10 minutes or so will be about the financial environment the company is operating in. Then the last 10 minutes we will leave open for Q&A. So Kelyniam is a manufacturer of cranial implants. Our manufacturing facility is near Hartford, Connecticut. Canton specifically, located there as much because it's a very inexpensive real estate for us. Corporate offices are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where the CEO and myself are resident. As Greg said, it trades under the ticker KLYG. The company did its original IPO back in 2012. I joined the company in 2020. I am a retired partner from Deloitte. I retired in 2019. The CEO, as a professional colleague of mine, asked me to join the organization, which I did on about March 6th of 2020. And for everybody with long memories, you'll remember that March 12th is when the NBA shut down and COVID began. Hospitals closed, and so I have been with the organization since that time. I spent the first 10 years of my career in Minneapolis. Spent 3 years in Tokyo, Japan, and the last 20 splitting my time between Chicago, where I was professionally with clients, and Milwaukee, where I live. I want to tell you a couple of things about Kelyniam. Kelyniam, as distinguished from a number of registrants on the marketplace, is an operating and viable business model company. We are not a discovery or therapeutic company. We do not have prototypes. We have a 510(k) approved product. We will show you revenues and expenses, distribution. As I said, we have been in business for now going on almost 15 years. So this will be very different than a number of the other presenters in the sense that this is a business model that is an investable business model with growth. Lots of growth opportunities for the future. So here's our product. This is a cranial implant. This is a multi-part, two-part implant. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on, particularly about those little extensions you see protruding out over the skull. That is a bit of patented technology. IFS stands for Integrated Fixation System. That is different than other techniques that are used by surgeons to affix the implants to the skull. One of the things that's very important about Kelyniam is we pioneered the use of PEEK cranial implants. I'll tell you a little bit more about PEEK later. Importantly, we are the only company in this space that can provide a 24-hour delivery of an implant. So to the extent that a surgeon signs off on a scan to us by 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we can have an implant to the hospital operating theater the next day. That is certainly not something that a big device and our competitors, Stryker and Synthes, can do. So that is very important for trauma patients and for hospital operating scheduling. Importantly, that little extension of the tab there that I showed you in the previous slide is patented, and we have intellectual property protection on that through 2037. In the 14 years that we have been in business, we have over 3,000 implants shipped. So we have a wealth of surgical data that somebody with AI, and we will ultimately scan and do data analyses with at some point. We have 30 distributors spread out across the United States, principally in the Northeast, West Coast, and Florida for reasons I will tell you in about a minute. In fact, I'll tell you right now. So the largest number of our patients are stroke patients. If you know how strokes occur, there's often swelling in the brain. The skull is removed to allow the brain to swell. And then when the brain settles back down, you have an orifice in the skull that needs to be remediated. The specific procedure is called a craniectomy. Because obviously everybody knows there's very little tissue, on top of your skull, which is why you bleed so much when you have a scrape up there. This can lead to dangerous and disfiguring surgeries. So the tabs alleviate some of that consideration for surgeons. The specific material that we use is a medical grade polymer called PEEK. Polyether ether ketone. It has some favorable properties associated with infection rates vis-a-vis the other types of materials, titanium or PMMA, that are other materials that are used in competitor products. And so the combination of the infection profile and the 24-hour service delivery capabilities gives us a very positive solution to trauma and emergency surgeries. As I said, about 65% of our patients are stroke, about 25% are neuro-oncology, typically glioblastoma or brain cancer, and about 5 to 10% of our patients are skater boys with no helmets or car accidents. Here's the macro as it relates to the marketplace. It's $500 million market. CAGR is growing at 7.2%, $1 billion by 2031. There are a number of macro drivers in the marketplace. Obviously, the United States aging population. There are about 700,000 strokes a year in the United States. Obviously, not every one of them has the need for a craniectomy. There are about 80,000 patients with brain cancer at any one point in time. In a past life, I was also CFO of a brain cancer therapeutic company, so I became very intimately aware of the medical therapies that are being researched there. There is a great deal of work around sonolucency and delivering therapies through either the skull or these implants to the glioblastoma population. That's hopefully a medical breakthrough that will happen sometime in the next 5 to 10 years. The last point here is very important, and it's important from an investment profile. We manufacture in the US. That is one of the reasons why we're able to do the 24-hour turnaround time. We are tariff insulated from any tariffs within our supply chain. So we are not anticipating any tariff disruption in our delivery of our products to hospitals. Here is part of the secret sauce. This is a picture of a portion of our manufacturing facility in Canton. We produce the implants in the following process. A physician will send us a CAT scan. We take the CAT scan. uploaded into a very specialized piece of software that we use to design the implant. The implant is designed with beveled edges and to be an exact fit of the orifice. It's sent back to the surgeon. Surgeon signs off on it, comes to us, and then we manufacture that from a PEEK plastic wafer or a piece of molding that we have. And so we do that with these Haas CNC machines. Here's the milling that goes on to polish the implant subsequent to the manufacturing. We were audited by the FDA in 2023. We have BSI as our internal auditing accreditation facility. And so we are obviously ISO 13485 certified with this facility. And so that provides us with a great deal of flexibility in manufacturing and speed to the hospitals that can be accommodated in that 11 o'clock time frame. Here is an example. I said one of the surgical techniques that can be used and has historically been used is to affix the implant to the skull with plates, titanium plates. We use instead the integrated fixation system tabs. These tabs, which you can see kind of poking out there, and there's an example of one there, they allow the implant to set flush with the skull. Because that allows for a much more aesthetic and better fit surgically than allowing plates. Patients can feel the plates up in their skull. People who are follically challenged, you can actually see the plates through the skin. So this is a much better patient outcome. In addition, we are told, we don't have a study on this, but we are told that surgery and closing times tend to be about 15 minutes faster than when you are doing a surgical procedure with titanium plates. And obviously there is less of an opportunity for an infection because you're using fewer parts. So I'm going to talk about the business side of the enterprise at this point. Again, we have over 30,000 implants delivered since 2012. Revenue growth was 22% in 2024 over prior year. We have 35 distributors and sales reps. Our implants are in all of the major hospital systems around the country. Brigham and Women's, Boston General, Lenox, Johns Hopkins, Atlantic Health in the Northeast, Kaiser out in the West, HCA and other trauma centers. We also do complex designs that our competitors cannot accommodate. Here's a brief look on the historic financials. I told you that at the macro level, the CAGR has been 7.2%. I just did the calculations yesterday for Kelyniam at 7.1%, so we are matching exactly the industry CAGR. It's a little bit hard to see there at the bottom, but in 2017, revenues were 1.8 million. Last year, they were 3.3 million. Here's an important slide, again, from an investment profile. You will see profitability for the previous 5 years. Again, this is a business that we understand very well from a cost perspective. We know what our cost burn is, which is about $250,000 a month. And so once you achieve a break-even point, cash just flows to the bottom line. We have opportunities for increased sales and throughput in our manufacturing facility. We are not at capacity. So from a leverageable leverage perspective in the business model, we can grow significantly, probably 20 to 40% over these revenues and not take on additional cost And for all of you doing quick math in your head, that would be just adding to that 2024 bottom line that you can see over in the right. For 2025, a little bit of a different story here, mostly associated with the first quarter. We have 4 to 8 competitors in the market at any one point in time. We had a troubling first quarter. You can see year-on-year revenues was down 35%. We attribute that to one of our less well-managed competitors who brought, I'll say, some crazy pricing to the marketplace. That number was mitigated there in the second quarter. We think the market has stabilized based on our early views of the third quarter. Obviously, I can't tell you about the third quarter yet, given that we will be ending that third quarter here in September and releasing results mid-October. But I will say the market appears to have stabilized from the pricing disruptions we saw out in the first quarter. From here, we have a number of strategies that we are going to embark on. First of all, I'd let you know that the organization's presence was Northeast, West Coast, and Florida. We are in 29 different states only at this point in time. So, for example, we do not have a rep or presence in Denver. We are committed to expanding our territorial coverage to parts of the United States that we have not previously been associated with. And we think that will be a 2-year plan. It does take some time to recruit distributors, educate physicians. And so, but we're excited about this from a greenfield opportunity. In the first quarter, we applied for an additional 510K on a new product, our VestaKeep product. It was approved by the FDA in record time, actually, in September of 2025. It will be the only new implant to come to the market in the last, I think, 7 years. This particular implant is osteointegrative. It allows the implant to grow into the skull, and that would allow for additional types of therapeutic indications. And so we're very excited about that, and we will probably launch that product here in the fourth quarter of this year or the first quarter of next year. We've also taken on an additional product through our partners in Italy, Finceramica SPA. Finceramica provides us with implants made out of hot epoxy. It is also osteointegrative, and so this allows for a pediatric indication because it will also grow into the skull. And we are very much focused on regenerative medicine going forward. One of the properties of PEEK is that it obviously is not osteointegrative, but with the integrated fixation system, you can put the implant in and you can take it out if you ever wanted to. We think the osteointegrated products are going to provide a great solution for the particular indications that I previously mentioned. We are also looking at some new biologics. Approval of those is expected 2029, so that's fair ways down the road. But we are definitely looking at the opportunities in additional products. For 2025-26, here are the growth strategies. We hired a national sales director, came on in the second quarter. We will, as I said, we will increase the number of distributors and sales reps for our geographies. The 510K certification for the VestaKeep product was achieved in September. And then the additional points here are ultimately physician education. Once we get a physician using our product, it's very sticky. Again, because there are less moving parts in the surgical procedure, physicians like it. They also like the fact that they don't have to use fillers or other elements of the surgical procedure, because the units are designed to fit the exact contours of the orifice. And so it makes for a simpler surgery. We are traded on the OTCID market. Thank you, OTC Markets, for elevating us to that. We are committed to timely financial reporting. Certainly my days at Deloitte taught me all about the opportunity, or the importance of that. We have about 350 trading shareholders in our marketplace. We have a public float of about 9.6 million shares. That is about 20% of our outstanding shares. Management and the board collectively, including past board members, and that own about 46% of the outstanding shares. Those do not trade. And then the remaining percentages of our shares are associated with our legacy IPO shareholders who are on our cap table. And so from the perspective of our active shareholders, like I said, I can track the number of them. It's approximately 350. Sometimes it moves up to 400. So we would be delighted if you would join that marketplace. Here's the marketplace pricing over the last 2 years. 52-week high was 30, it shows 34 cents there, but it was actually 39. Right now, shares are at about 6 cents. We think the shares are oversold. There has been some selling in the marketplace, mostly associated with, I think, some legacy shareholders. And when I say legacy shareholders, these have been people that have been on the cap table since 2012. So since I can see that occurring through our transfer agent, that would account for, given some of the thin trading practices with the stock, when one of those shareholders who have a relatively large position comes to market, that kind of tends to push the share price down. That combined with the difficult first quarter probably is where you see the chart at. But as I said, I think and we believe the shares are oversold at this point. So wrapping up here from an investor and trading consideration, you know, one of the things that's important here is this is a real business with real cash flow. It is a break-even cash flow. We have no plans on fundraising or dilution. We have intellectual property protection to 2037. As I said, the import tariff resiliency, superior service and training for our turnaround time is a competitive advantage. And we would, of course, look to see at some point down the road with multiple products and a product pipeline as a target in either a roll-up or a product acquisition situation by a strategic. And so with that, I will, picture of the team. Ross Biela is our Chief Executive Officer. There's me. Ms. Webb is our Chief Operating and Revenue Officer. She has a background for 15 years at HCA, and Jim Keller is our VP of Regulatory Affairs. And with that, I'm going to look over at the Q&A here and answer a couple of questions. So one of the questions was the TAB technology and its contribution to surgical outcomes. Again, because we're not dealing with plates and titanium, we would generally expect to find a lessened infection profile. And because you don't have to affix the plates to the skull and to the implant, the Kelyniam implant is done only with screws. There's just that many less moving parts. And so, as I said, we are we are told surgical times shorten up by 15 minutes or so. Here's a question: the key driver behind Kelyniam's sales growth since 2017. And interestingly, you saw that sales growth through the COVID. Certainly people don't stop having strokes. People also don't stop, unfortunately, getting brain cancer. And so we found our sales opportunities and our opportunities for patient outcomes during this period to be very constant with demand. I will tell you one interesting story. During the middle of the COVID, you will remember we did, the U.S. Navy brought ships and medical health ships into New York Harbor. And 2 of our implants were used in a craniectomy for the first ever shipboard craniectomies that were performed in the United States during the COVID. Couple of things on the additions to staff, expansion, distribution, sales channels, and resources. Typically, there are, I'll use Denver as an example. There will be a number of people inside the Denver marketplace who act as distributors or medical device sales reps in the orthopedic industry. They have companies of their own. They have relationships with orthopedic doctors. These medical device distributors may do knees, hips. All of us who have had the opportunity to visit our orthopedic doctor will reflect on that. Many of them do spine because neurosurgeons are very focused on both the craniectomies and everything above the neck, as I was provided some good language yesterday by a competitor product. So you will see many of these medical device distributorships in spine and in mandibular and craniotomy types of products. They have relationships with physicians. So we obviously have to go introduce ourselves to those folks. We have to then do a presentation showing the value in the surgical time. Physicians are quite enamored with the product because they see it's rather self-evident about the closing time and the simplicity of the product. And so as a result, their ability to adopt the product is quite easy. But there is an element of, people learn surgical techniques, at medical colleges and when they are studying at universities. And so, some people get very comfortable using plates. And so there is sometimes a challenge with getting people to move off of that. That's why we present at conferences and why we are avid participants at CNS, AANS, and other conferences for neurology and orthopedic delivery of products. With that, I am going to end our program because I'm going to come up here on the end. There is a link that will allow you to set up a one-on-one meeting. I would be delighted to talk to any of you in a one-on-one basis and run down the granularity of the business from both a cost and a revenues perspective. We are very excited about 2026. We are very excited about our new product. The regenerative medicine is becoming a discussion point with physicians as they try to improve patient outcomes. And with that, thank you very much for your time today. And I look forward to talking with a number of you in one-on-one presentations or next year when we do the same program. Thank you very much.